Hi, I'm Mike Browne, an internationally recognised photographer and trainer. This tutorial is an excerpt from my Masterclass in Photography online course. If you like my teaching, click the top right of your screen at any time to get 7 more completely free lessons from the 105 which make up the course. I mean, why wouldn't you? Light. It is the dream maker or the heartbreaker. It makes such a difference. It's so important to get used to looking at light as it lands on things, as it lands on people, on buildings, on landscapes, on scenery. I got my chum Thor out in Iceland to record a time-lapse out of his kitchen window. This is the view across the bay from Thor's kitchen window, because I wanted you to see how the light travels across the ground, how it creates shadows, how it goes flat at the middle of the day, and then as we move it later into the day, you get some more shadows back, but also how, as you go into the evening, it completely changes colour, which also, of course, it does first thing in the morning. These are things we tend not to notice unless they're sped up, which is why we got this bit of time-lapse. Let's just quickly have a review through it again. Right at the beginning of the day, before the sun's come up, we've got that bluey coloured light, which we don't see. That's a white balance thing. I don't want to go too far into this. This is far more about the effect light has on the scenery. But the light is completely flat. There are no highlights, there are no real shadows here, are they? It's just a bit dark. As we move forward, look, the light levels are coming up, the colour is changing, but then boom, suddenly, look, we've got this bright highlight on the foreground, and it looks kind of nice, doesn't it? You've got to admit it. And we're drawn immediately to the brightest part of the picture. Immediately we look at it, that is where our eye goes. If we go back a bit, look, into that flat area, we don't know where to look, do we? We're kind of like scanning around the picture thinking, oh, I don't know what to look at. And then suddenly we know. Now, as we move through the day and these clouds are moving through the sky, the light goes in and out, it goes flat and boring again. Look at that little highlight suddenly going across the other side of the bay, like a little searchlight, lighting up just a little section of the area. These are all useful photographer tools, watching what light is doing. Let's just move it forward a little bit further. You'll see that as those clouds move, we've got another highlight on the other side. Look at that light over there now. Look at those highlights on the other side. This is light changing because the weather has changed. We lost some of the haze and suddenly we're looking on the opposite side of the bay. It's really clearly obvious because the light is telling us what to look at. As we move further on, clouds will begin to clear. Now we've got an argument going on. Do we look at this side of the bay or that side? Because the light's the same on both of them, isn't it? These are just things to look out for. Look, where's that bit there? Where did I go? Where did it go? There. Now we're looking at the far side again because we haven't got light on both. Fascinating stuff this, isn't it? You can see those little pools of light moving around on the water. Then suddenly we've got an open sky. The light's flat and even right across the bay. Look at the mountains. There's no real shape or texture to them, is there? They're just kind of big, rocky things, but there's no shape, there's no real texture. Even as the light level comes up a little bit around here, there's still no real texture. For that, we need to get either some spotlights on them, or we need the light to go sideways. We need further into the day, like this. Look how those shadows are stretching across the mountains. Look now how much more moody that whole scene looks. We've got shadows on the grass and we've got shadows on the mountain. But at the same time, we're looking more predominantly at the foreground because they've got all those textures that are being brought out in the grasses. The shadows are getting longer and longer. It's getting moodier and moodier. Shadows and highlights often make moody. And then as we go on, the sun goes down. Look at that little kiss of highlight on the grass there. That's quite exciting, isn't it? Again, we know what we're looking at. That's quite attractive. Then the light goes completely flat and again the white balance changes and it goes blue. It's amazing, isn't it? When you see this sped up, just what a difference it can make to a scene, to a landscape, to whatever, to a cityscape, to a building, to what you're doing, whether you're out with your friends, you know, are there some little pools of light going on, these little things that you can learn to do subconsciously. I think what is a good idea is to go out and do it ourselves. So let's go and take 3 pictures at different times a day and have a look and see how they look. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and what a lovely morning it is this morning. 6:30, up early. Light doesn't wait for you. The sun is just over the top of the trees over there. Splendid. Now, we've been here many times, haven't we? And I want you to do this somewhere that is very familiar to you. Because it's familiar to you, you will really notice that changing light and how it changes the appearance of that familiar place. So what have we got? Our house. Now look, there's an obvious problem straight away, isn't there? And it's caused by the light. Look at this shadow here. There's not much you can do about getting rid of your own shadow apart from something like that, and then we lose one of the most interesting parts of this shot. So little tip, if you do need to lose your own shadow, sometimes you can kind of hunker down and do things like this and pretend you're a boulder. Where are we? Something like that. It's not ideal, but okay, so this is going to be our shot. We're going to repeat this several times. Put it onto camera mode. Right. Looks like I'll be coming back for a walk at lunchtime. Looks very different indeed, doesn't it? I just had a lovely bun for my lunch. Let's take that midday shot and see how it looks. I don't remember exactly where I was. I think it was somewhere around here. I'll hunker down again. So it's about the same. Have a look at my histogram. That is so contrasty now. Right, I think this was about our shot like that, or very close to it. So let's compare that. And look, as you can see, there are some clouds in the sky. The light's going up and down a bit. In fact, it's just starting to go behind a cloud. I'm going to take another one. Oh no, it's come back out again. When we get the sun go behind the cloud again, I'm going to take another shot because I think you'll notice there's a really big difference. Look, the light's just dropped. Let's do it again. Up my exposure a bit to compensate, and there we go. Quickly managed to grab another shot. And look, the light has just changed all over again. So what we've got to do now is come back tonight, see how it looks then. So back in the evening, doesn't it look utterly different? Now, I thought we were going to have some highlights on the side of the building, but let me just show you. The sun has just gone behind that great big cloud over there. That is not very helpful. It's one of those things that happen. So I'll come back another evening, but it's a great opportunity to see what it looks like in this light. You can already see how different it is. Let's take our shot once again. If I can find my composition, I think I was about here. Do the hunker, get down here and repeat our shot. There's our shot. It looks totally different. So the next thing I've got to do is to come back another evening when the sun is shining from over there and the light will be catching this side of the building. Then we'll have a little look through, see what they all look like. I'm going home for dinner now, but I didn't go home. How I suffer for you guys. I thought, I wonder what will happen as that cloud moves over. It's totally changed the dynamic of everything, hasn't it? And look, there's a little hint of light appearing on the side of the house as the sun is coming in under the cloud. It's just starting to rain and it's getting a bit windy. Can we get that one? Let's just see. Look, that little bit of light on the side of the building. Oh boy, that's picked it up. That looks pretty good. You see how that has suddenly become really rather dramatic. The light has changed. The sun is just starting to appear underneath this cloud. Let's show you. Here we go. Here is our house, and the sun has just started to poke out behind those trees over there. You see the rain spots landing on the lens? But it completely changed the dynamic of that shot. It now looks really interesting, whereas when the sun had just gone in, it looked totally dull, boring, and uninteresting. These are the fascinating things that light can do. Go and try this out for yourself. See what you can make out of somewhere that you know well. Go and repeatedly photograph it in different weather, in different light, at different times of day. Because then you'll start to understand what makes or breaks a picture. This picture and this picture are separated by maybe 3 minutes where the light changed. And you can see how radically different they are. Go and try this out for yourself. Just have fun with it. I've really enjoyed coming out here. I didn't expect to enjoy this when I saw that bank of cloud coming, but I did.